The lights on Station Helix 9 flickered 3 times before the alarm started screaming, dropped her coffee cup and ran toward the observation window. Outside, in the black emptiness of space, something was falling toward the docking bay. It was small, damaged, and burning. "Escape pod," someone shouted behind her. "Unknown origin." Pressed her hand against the cold glass and watched the pod spin wildly before the station's emergency systems caught it with gravity hooks. Sparks flew everywhere as it crashed onto the metal floor of the docking bay. Smoke rose from its cracked surface. She had been working at the Galactic Integration Center for 3 years now. Her job was simple: meet aliens, help them with paperwork, send them on their way. The galaxy was full of different species, and Earth had joined them only 50 years ago. Humans were not special in the eyes of the Galactic Assembly. They were not strong like they were not smart like the Pelions. They were just humans, average, forgettable. That was what everyone said. Did not mind. She liked her quiet job. She liked helping confused travelers find their way. She liked learning new languages and tasting strange foods. Life on the station was peaceful. Until today. The security team reached the escape pod first, followed them, her heart beating fast. She was not supposed to be there, but curiosity pulled her forward. The pod's door had been melted shut from the inside. Someone had not wanted to be found. "Cut it open," ordered the security chief. He was a tall man with tired eyes and a scar across his chin. He rarely smiled, but he was fair, respected him. The cutting torch screamed as it sliced through metal. When the door finally fell open, everyone went silent. Inside was a creature had never seen before. It was female, she thought, tall and thin, with silver skin that seemed to glow faintly in the emergency lights. She had 4 arms, 2 of which were wrapped around her body as if she was trying to protect herself. Her eyes were large and filled with something recognized immediately: fear. The creature was covered in wounds. Blue blood dripped from cuts on her arms and face. Her clothing was torn and burned. She looked like she had escaped from hell itself. Whispered one of the security officers. "She is." Had heard of them. They were part of a powerful empire on the other side of the galaxy. They were known for their military strength and their cold hearts. They did not ask for things. They took them. Most species stayed away from them. So what was one of them doing here, alone and injured? Stepped forward slowly, his hands raised to show he meant no harm. "Can you understand me?" he asked in universal standard, the common language of the galaxy. The female did not answer. Her large eyes moved across the crowd of faces, searching for something, searching for someone. Then her gaze stopped on. "You," the said, her voice was weak, broken. "You are human." Felt everyone turn to look at her. She swallowed hard and nodded. "Yes, I am human." The tried to stand, but her legs gave out. She fell forward and ran to catch her without thinking. The alien was lighter than she expected, and her silver skin was cold like ice. Up close, could see that her wounds were deep. This creature had been through something terrible. "Help me," the whispered. "Please, only human, only you." Why asked, why only me? But the had already passed out in her arms. The medical team arrived and took the alien away, ordered everyone to return to their stations, but he asked to stay behind. They stood together in the empty docking bay, looking at the destroyed escape pod. "Her name is," said finally. "We found identification inside the pod. She is registered as a servant class, very low rank." A servant frowned. Then why is she running, and why did she ask for a human? Shook his head. "I do not know, but I do not like it. The Empire does not let their people leave. If she ran away, they will come looking for her." "What will happen to her?" "That depends on what she tells us." Looked at with serious eyes. "She asked for you specifically, for a human. I want you to be the one who interviews her when she wakes up." Felt a cold feeling in her stomach. "Me? But I am just a cultural ambassador. I process paperwork. I do not deal with political situations. This is not political yet, said. Right now she is just a refugee, and you are good with refugees. You make them feel safe. He paused. Besides, she asked for you. Maybe she will only talk to you. Wanted to refuse. This was not her job. This was not her problem. But then she remembered the look in his eyes. That desperate, terrified look. Had seen that look before on the faces of other refugees who had come to the station. People who had lost everything. People who had nowhere else to go. Okay, said quietly, I will talk to her. Woke up 2 days later in the medical bay. The doctors had fixed most of her wounds, but she was still weak. When entered the room, immediately sat up, her 4 arms reaching out as if to grab her. You came, said, the human came. Sat down in the chair beside the bed. My name is, I work here at the station. I help people who need a new home. New home, repeated. The words seemed strange in her mouth, like she had never thought about them before. I cannot go home. They will kill me. Who will kill you? Everyone. His large eyes filled with tears that glowed faintly silver. I saw something I was not supposed to see. I learned something I was not supposed to learn. Now they want me dead. Leaned forward. What did you see? Was quiet for a long moment. Her 4 hands twisted together nervously. Then she spoke in a voice so soft that had to strain to hear it. They told us humans were weak. They told us you were soft and stupid and easy to break. They told us you were nothing special, just animals with tools. Eyes met. But I saw what one of you did. I saw him walk through fire. I saw him fight when fighting was impossible. I saw him save people when saving was impossible. Felt her heart stop. What are you talking about? Who did you see? Reached out and grabbed his hand. Her grip was surprisingly strong. 6 months ago, my masters attacked a human ship, a colony ship full of families. They expected easy victory, easy slaves. His voice cracked. But there was one man, one single human man. He would not stop. He would not surrender. He would not die. No matter what they did to him, he kept fighting. He kept protecting. Tears were falling freely down Silver's face now. He was dressed so strangely, torn clothes, burned skin, blood everywhere, but he was singing, singing while he fought, singing while he died. Squeezed hand. I watched him save 47 people before his body finally gave up. And before he died, he looked at me. He looked directly at me and he said something I will never forget. What did he say? Whispered. Closed her eyes. He said, take care of them for me. The room was silent, could not move, could not breathe. Somewhere deep inside her chest, something was burning, something that felt like pride and sadness and anger all mixed together. That is why I came here, said, opening her eyes. That is why I asked for a human, because I need to understand, I need to know. Her voice broke completely. How can something so small be so strong? Did not have an answer, but she knew in that moment that everything was about to change. Did not sleep that night. She sat in her small room on the station and stared at the wall. Her mind kept playing words over and over again. A human man who walked through fire. A human man who sang while he died. A human man who saved 47 people with nothing but his bare hands and his refusal to give up. Who was he? The next morning went back to the medical bay. Was awake, sitting up in bed and staring out the window at the stars. Her silver skin looked healthier now and her wounds were healing, but her eyes still carried that heavy sadness. You came back, said without turning around. I need to know more, replied. I need to know everything that happened. Finally looked at her. Why? He was not your family, he was not your friend, he was just a stranger. He was human, said simply. That makes him my family. Something changed in his expression. A small flicker of understanding crossed her face. She nodded slowly and gestured for to sit down. I will tell you everything, said, but you must promise me something first. What? Promise me you will not hate me for what I was part of. Hesitated. She did not know what was about to say. She did not know if she could keep that promise, but she nodded anyway. I promise I will listen with an open heart. Took a deep breath and began her story. 6 months ago, she had been a servant on a military cruiser called the Iron Silence. Her job was simple and terrible. She cleaned. She cooked. She did whatever her masters told her to do. She had been born into this life, and she had never known anything else. Freedom was just a word that other species used. The Iron Silence was on a hunting mission. The Empire was always hungry for resources, for workers, for power. They had heard about a human colony ship traveling through unprotected space. Easy target, easy victory. The commanders laughed about it during their meals. Humans, they said, were weak little creatures. They would surrender in minutes. Had believed them. She had no reason not to believe them. She had never met a human before. She only knew what she had been told. The attack came in the middle of the night cycle. The soldiers boarded the human ship quickly and quietly. Was brought along to help process the captured humans and sort their belongings. She expected to find scared, crying creatures who would beg for mercy. She found something very different. The humans were scared, yes. Many of them were crying. There were children holding onto their parents, old people trying to protect the young, but there was also something else in their eyes, something hard and bright, something that looked like fire. The soldiers rounded up the humans in the main hall of the ship. There were about 200 of them, families who had been traveling to start new lives on a distant planet. Their dreams were now broken. And then he appeared. Remembered every detail of that moment. A man came walking out of the engine room. He was not tall, he was not muscular, he looked ordinary in every way. His name, she learned later, he was the ship's engineer. His job was to fix broken things. Was already injured. There was blood on his face from a cut above his eye. His uniform was torn and dirty, but he walked with his back straight and his head high. He looked at the soldiers like they were insects. The commander of the boarding team laughed at him. "Look at this one," he said. "He thinks he is brave." Did not respond. He just looked around at the captured humans. His eyes found the children first, then the elderly, then the families huddled together in fear. Something in his expression changed. It became calm, peaceful, decided. "Let them go," said in universal standard. His pronunciation was not perfect, but his meaning was clear. "Take me instead. I will not fight, but let them go." The commander laughed harder. What value do you have? You are nothing, one small human." Smiled. It was a strange smile, sad and gentle and absolutely terrifying at the same time. "You are right," he said. "I am nothing special. I am just an engineer. I fix broken things." Then he moved. Had never seen anything like it. Grabbed a metal pipe from the floor and swung it at the nearest soldier. The soldier went down. Before anyone could react, had already taken the fallen soldier's weapon and fired it at the door controls. The main hall sealed itself shut. Chaos exploded everywhere. Soldiers ran toward. He fought them with the pipe, with his fists, with anything he could find. They shot him in the leg. He kept fighting. They shot him in the arm. He kept fighting. They beat him with their weapons until his face was covered in blood. He kept fighting. And he was singing. Could not understand the words. It was an earth song, something old and slow and beautiful. Sang it under his breath while he fought, while he bled, while he died piece by piece. His voice never stopped. His feet never stopped moving. The other humans watched in shock. Then something amazing happened. They started helping. Parents pushed their children toward the back of the hall. Young men and women picked up whatever they could find and joined the fight. An old woman threw herself at a soldier's legs to trip him. A teenager used a food tray as a shield. In the confusion, made it to the control panel on the wall. His fingers, broken and bleeding, typed in commands. The cargo bay doors opened. He shouted at the humans to run, to get inside, to seal themselves in. 47 people made it to the cargo bay before the doors closed. 47 people survived because one man refused to accept the impossible. The remaining soldiers were furious. They beat until he could not stand anymore. They threw him against the wall like garbage. But even then, lying in a pool of his own blood, he was still smiling, still singing. Was frozen in the corner of the room. She was supposed to be invisible. She was supposed to be nothing, but saw her. His eyes, swollen and bloody, found her hiding place. He looked at her for a long moment. Then he spoke. "Take care of them for me." Did not understand at first. Take care of who? Why was he talking to her? She was his enemy. She was part of the people who were killing him. But just kept looking at her with those gentle, dying eyes. Like he knew something she did not. Like he could see something inside her that she could not see herself. He died 3 days later from his injuries. The doctors could have saved him, but they chose not to. They wanted him to suffer for what he had done, for the embarrassment he had caused. But did not seem to suffer. He stayed calm until the very end. He even thanked the doctor who came to check on him one last time. Thanked her as if she had helped him instead of watched him die. The 47 humans in the cargo bay were eventually rescued by a passing merchant ship. The iron silence let them go, not out of kindness, but because the mission had become too complicated, too messy. The commanders wanted to forget it ever happened, but could not forget. She started secretly bringing food to the captured humans who were still on the ship. She started learning their language. She started listening to their songs. And slowly, piece by piece, she began to understand what it meant. He had not asked her to protect his body. He had asked her to protect his people, to carry his fire forward, to become something more than what she had been born to be. It took her 6 months to find the courage to run. 6 months of planning, of stealing, of hiding. But she finally did it. She escaped in that broken pod and flew toward the only place she thought might understand. Toward the humans. When finished her story, was crying. She did not know when the tears had started, but they would not stop. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was burning. His name was, whispered. I need to remember his name. Nodded. I will never forget it. He changed everything for me. He showed me that strength is not about size or power. It is about the fire inside you that refuses to die. Wiped her eyes and took's hand. Thank you for telling me this. Thank you for coming here. Squeezed back. What happens now? Did not know the answer, but she knew one thing for certain. She would protect this alien woman with everything she had, because that was what would have wanted. That was what humans did. They took care of each other, always. The message came 5 days later. It arrived on every screen on Station Helix 9 at exactly midnight. A cold, official transmission from the Empire. You are holding stolen property. The servant designated belongs to the Empire. Return her within 48 hours or face consequences. Was in her room when the message appeared. She read it 3 times, each time feeling the anger inside her grow hotter. Stolen property. They called stolen property, like she was a broken machine, like she was nothing. She ran to the medical bay but was already gone. Had moved her to a secure room deep inside the station. When found them, was sitting on a small bed, her 4 arms wrapped around her knees. She looked like a scared child. They found me, whispered. I knew they would find me. Nobody is giving you to anyone, said firmly. She looked at. What are we going to do? His face was hard as stone. He had not spoken much since had told him story, but his eyes had changed when she mentioned the colony ship, when she mentioned. The Galactic Assembly has rules about this, said slowly. The Empire is a recognized member. They have legal rights to claim their citizens. She is not their citizen, argued. She is their slave. There is a difference. Not according to galactic law. Wanted to scream. She wanted to break something, but screaming would not help. Breaking things would not save her. There has to be another way, said. There has to be something we can do. Was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke in a voice so low that only could hear. Was my cousin. Felt the world stop moving. What? The man on that colony ship, the engineer who saved those people. His jaw tightened. His full name was Park. He was my mother's sister's son. We grew up together on Earth before I joined the station security force. Did not know what to say. She could only stare at as he continued speaking. I received a message 6 months ago that his ship had been attacked. They told me he was dead. They told me he died fighting. A single tear rolled down his cheek. But they never told me the full story, not until now. He looked at with an expression had never seen before. It was not anger. It was not hatred. It was something deeper, something like gratitude. You saw him die, said Tu. You heard his last words. You carried his message forward. He walked toward her and knelt down so they were at the same level. For that, I owe you a debt I can never repay. His eyes filled with tears. I did not do anything. I was too scared to help him. I just watched. You are here now, replied. You escaped. You told his story. That is not nothing. That is everything. He stood up and turned back too. His eyes were clear now, focused and determined. I will not let them take her, he said. Whatever happens, I will not let them take her. Felt hope spark in her chest. What do we do? First, we need help. The station authorities will follow galactic law. They will hand over if the assembly tells them to. We cannot fight the whole station. Then we need people who will fight with us, said. People who understand what we are doing and why. I know some, said. But we need more, we need time, and we need a way out if everything goes wrong. Thought for a moment. Then she remembered someone who never followed rules, someone who had his own ship and his own crew. My brother, she said. He is a merchant captain. He travels between systems buying and selling cargo. He never liked authority and he always loved a good fight. Raised an eyebrow. Can you contact him? I can try. Went back to her room and sent a coded message to ship. She did not know if he would receive it in time. She did not know if he would even agree to help, but had always been stubborn, just like her. Just like all humans, she was starting to realize. The next 24 hours were a blur of secret meetings and whispered plans. Gathered a small group of humans who worked on the station, engineers who maintained the power systems, cooks who prepared food in the cafeteria, janitors who knew every hidden corner of the station, ordinary people with ordinary jobs. Looked at them gathered in a storage room deep in the human section of the station. There were about 30 of them. They were not soldiers. They were not warriors. They were just people. Thank you for coming, she said. I know this is dangerous. I know you are risking everything, but I need to ask you for help. She told them story. She told them about the Empire and their message demanding return. When she finished, the room was silent. Then a young woman near the back raised her hand. Her name was, and she worked in the station's food preparation center. I know about Park, said quietly. My younger sister was on that colony ship. She was one of the 47 he saved. Her voice cracked. She told me about the man who sang while he died. She said he smiled at her before he sealed the cargo bay door. Another voice spoke up, an older man named who maintained the air recycling systems. My nephew was there too. He still has nightmares about it, but he is alive because of that engineer. One by one, more voices joined in. It seemed like everyone in the room had some connection to the colony ship attack. A relative, a friend of a friend. The human community was small and news traveled fast. Everyone knew someone who had been touched by sacrifice. Stepped forward. Is being hunted because she witnessed what happened. Because she saw human strength when she was told humans were weak. The Empire does not want that story to spread. They do not want their people to question what they have been taught. So they will kill her, someone said. Yes, unless we stop them. The room fell silent again. Could feel the fear in the air. These were not heroes. These were regular people with families and jobs and fears of their own. Then spoke again. "What do you need us to do?" Felt tears in her eyes. She blinked them away and smiled. "We need to hide. The station authorities will search for her when they arrive. We need to move her through the maintenance tunnels to places they cannot easily access. We need to create distractions. We need to buy time." "Time for what?" asked. "Time for my brother to arrive with his ships. Time for us to find another solution. Time for the galaxy to see what is really happening here." The planning continued for hours. Maps were drawn. Schedules were memorized. People volunteered for different tasks based on their skills. The cooks would prepare food packages that could be hidden in service areas. The engineers would create fake sensor readings to confuse security. The janitors would guide through the maze of maintenance tunnels that ran beneath the station's surface. By the time dawn arrived on the station, they had a plan. It was not perfect. It was not guaranteed to work, but it was something. When to tell what was happening, she found the alien woman still sitting on her bed, still holding her knees, still looking terrified. "We are going to protect you," said, sitting down beside her. "All of us together." Looked at her with disbelief. "Why? Why would you risk so much for me? I am not even human. I am the enemy." Took's cold silver hand in her warm human one. "Because a man named asked you to take care of his people, and now his people are asking you to let them take care of you." She squeezed his hand gently. "That is what family does. That is what humans do." Started crying. Not the quiet tears from before, but deep, shaking sobs that seemed to come from somewhere ancient and broken inside her. "I do not understand you," said between sobs. "I do not understand any of you." Smiled sadly. "Sometimes we do not understand ourselves either, but we keep trying anyway." The warship would arrive in less than 20 hours. The hunt was about to begin. And for the first time in her life, was ready to fight. The warship arrived exactly on time. It was massive and dark, like a mountain made of metal floating through space. The station's sensors screamed warnings as it approached. Everyone on Helix 9 stopped what they were doing and watched through the observation windows. Stood in the human quarter of the station, surrounded by her small army of ordinary people. They had spent the last 20 hours preparing. Was hidden deep in the maintenance tunnels, guarded by 3 engineers who knew the passages better than anyone. The station's commander, a 4-legged creature named Director, had already made his decision. He would follow galactic law. He would hand over when they demanded her. He did not want trouble with the Empire. But the humans had made a different decision. "Are you sure about this?" asked, standing beside. His face was calm, but she could see the tension in his shoulders. "No," admitted, "but I am doing it anyway." Almost smiled. "That sounds very human." The warship docked with a terrible grinding sound. Could feel the vibration through the floor beneath her feet. Somewhere in her pocket, her communication device buzzed with a message from her brother. "3 hours away. Coming as fast as I can. Do not do anything stupid until I get there." 3 hours. They needed to hold for 3 hours. The docking bay doors opened, and they marched in. There were about 50 soldiers, all tall and silver-skinned-like, but their faces were hard and cold. Their forearms carried weapons that hummed with deadly energy. At the front of the group walked their leader. He was larger than the others, with scars across his face that spoke of many battles. His eyes were black and empty, like holes in the universe. "Commander." Director met him at the entrance to the station. Could not hear what they were saying, but she could see pointing toward the human quarter. Nodded once, then started walking in their direction. His soldiers followed like shadows. Took a deep breath and stepped out to meet him. "You are blocking my path," said. His voice was deep and terrible, like thunder before a storm. "Yes," replied, "I am." Looked at her with mild curiosity, like someone studying a strange insect. You are human, the weak species, the soft ones. He tilted his head. Why are you standing in front of me? Because you are looking for someone, and she is not here. The servant is on this station. Our scanners detected her biological signature. Took a step closer. He was so tall that had to crane her neck to look at his face. Move aside, little creature. This does not concern you. Everything concerns me, said. Her voice was shaking, but she did not move. Asked for asylum. She is under human protection now. Laughed. It was an ugly sound, like metal scraping against metal. Human protection. What protection can humans offer? You are nothing. You have no fleet. You have no army. You have no power in this galaxy. He leaned down until his face was close to hers. You are prey. That is all you have ever been. That is all you will ever be. Felt her fear turning into something else. Something hotter. Something brighter. 6 months ago, your soldiers attacked a human colony ship, she said. They expected easy victory. They expected us to be weak and scared and helpless. His expression flickered, just a tiny movement, but saw it. One man stopped them, she continued. One ordinary human engineer with no weapons and no training. He killed your soldiers. He saved 47 people. He humiliated your entire empire. That incident has been dealt with, growled. No, it has not, pointed at him, because saw everything. She saw how strong one human can be when they refuse to give up. And now she is here, ready to tell that story to the entire galaxy. That is why you are really here, not to recover property, but to silence a witness. The air between them crackled with tension. Soldiers raised their weapons. Behind, she could hear her people shifting nervously. Move aside, said again. This is your last warning. No. The word hung in the air like a challenge, stared at her for a long moment. Then he straightened up and gestured to his soldiers. Search the station, find the servant, kill anyone who gets in your way. The soldiers started forward, but as they approached the entrance to the human quarter, they found something unexpected. More humans. They came from everywhere, from the cafeteria and the maintenance rooms, from the sleeping quarters and the storage areas, engineers and cooks and janitors and teachers, old people and young people, men and women and children holding their parents' hands. They formed a wall, a living wall of soft, fragile, prey species bodies standing between the soldiers and their target. Stopped, for the first time, something like confusion crossed his face. What is this? He demanded. Stepped forward to stand beside. This is what humans do, he said. We take care of each other. You are willing to die for one alien servant, one creature who is not even your species. Yes, said a voice from the crowd. It was the young woman from the food center. She is part of us now. We protect our own, said the old engineer. More voices joined in, a wave of agreement that rolled through the crowd like thunder. Looked at them with something that might have been disgust or fear. It was hard to tell. You cannot stop us, he said. We have weapons, we have training, we have power. You have guns, replied, but we have something else. What? Smiled. It was the same smile she had seen in his memories. The same smile had worn while he died. We have each other, and we have nothing left to lose. At that moment, the station's communication system crackled to life. A new voice filled the air, a familiar voice. Attention warship. This is captain of the merchant vessel Far Horizon. I have 2 additional ships with me, and we are blocking your departure route. If you want to leave this station, you will have to go through us. Felt tears of relief spring to her eyes. Had arrived early. His face twisted with rage. He grabbed his communicator and shouted orders at someone on his ship. The response he received made him even angrier. You think 3 small merchant ships can stop a warship? He snarled at. No, admitted, but I think the entire galaxy is watching now. She gestured toward the observation windows. Outside, Dozens of ships from different species were gathering at a safe distance. News drones floated in the darkness, their cameras pointed at Station Helix 9. The story had spread. Everyone wanted to see what would happen next. "You can kill us," said. "You can take by force, but the whole galaxy will see you do it. Every species will watch the mighty Empire murder unarmed civilians for trying to protect one scared girl." She tilted her head. "Is that the story you want to tell?" Stood frozen. His soldiers waited for orders. The humans waited to die. The galaxy waited to see which way history would fall. The moment stretched for an eternity, then took a step backward. "This is not over," he said quietly. "You have made an enemy today, little human. You and your entire species." "Maybe," replied, "but today at least we stood together, and that is something you will never understand." Turned and walked back toward his ship. His soldiers followed. None of them looked back. When the airlock sealed behind them, the humans began to cry. Some of them laughed. Some of them fell to their knees. They held each other and trembled and celebrated and mourned all at the same time. They had done it. They had stood against an empire, and for one bright, beautiful moment they had won. Fell into his arms, sobbing with relief. Somewhere in the maintenance tunnels below was safe. Somewhere outside was waiting. And somewhere far away, hoped, a man named was smiling. The warship did not leave immediately. Commander demanded a formal meeting with the Galactic Assembly to discuss what he called illegal interference by the humans. He wanted returned. He wanted punishment for those who had him. He wanted justice. But justice, was beginning to learn, meant different things to different species. The meeting was held in the station's Great Hall, a massive room usually used for diplomatic events. Representatives from dozens of species filled the seats, their strange faces lit by floating screens that translated every word into every language. Was not supposed to be there. She was just a cultural ambassador, a nobody in the eyes of galactic politics, but Director had summoned her personally. He said the assembly wanted to hear from the humans who had started all this trouble. She stood before them alone, her heart pounding so hard she could feel it in her throat. "You have caused a diplomatic incident," Director said. His 4 legs clicked against the floor as he paced back and forth. "The Empire is threatening consequences. Other species are watching. The stability of this entire region is at risk." He stopped and stared at her. "What do you have to say for yourself?" Thought about all the things she could say. She could apologize. She could explain. She could beg for understanding. But then she remembered. She remembered the wall of ordinary people standing against soldiers with guns. "I have evidence," she said. The room went quiet. "Evidence of what?" demanded from his seat among the delegation. Pulled out a small data chip that had given her. It contained records from the Iron Silence, the warship that had attacked the colony's ship 6 months ago, had secretly them during her escape. "This contains footage of the attack on the human colony vessel Hope's Dream," said. "It shows soldiers murdering unarmed civilians. It shows them laughing while they killed. It shows them taking prisoners to sell as slaves." The room erupted in noise. Species shouted and argued, jumped to his feet, his black eyes blazing with fury. "Those records are stolen property," he roared. "They cannot be used as evidence." "They can be used as truth," replied calmly. She uploaded the data to the assembly's viewing system. The screens around the room flickered to life. Suddenly, everyone was watching the attack unfold. They saw the soldiers boarding the human ship. They saw the families huddling in fear. They saw the violence and the cruelty and the casual destruction of innocent lives. And they saw. The footage showed him emerging from the engine room. It showed him fighting. It showed him bleeding and singing and refusing to fall. It showed him sealing the cargo bay door and saving 47 lives with his last breath. When it was over, the room was completely silent. Looked at the faces around her. Some species seemed shocked. Others seemed ashamed. A few, she noticed, seemed proud of this small human who had stood against impossible odds. "The Empire attacked a peaceful civilian ship," said, her voice steady now. "They killed innocent people, they took slaves, and when one man fought back, they tortured him to death." She pointed at. "That is the Empire asking for justice today. That is the power demanding we return a frightened girl who only wants to be free." Tried to speak, but Director raised a limb to silence him. "The Assembly will review this evidence," said slowly. "Until then, the individual known as will remain under station protection." "This is unacceptable," shouted. "The Empire will not tolerate." "The Empire will accept the Assembly's decision," interrupted. "Or the Empire will explain to the entire galaxy why it fears the testimony of one servant girl." His face twisted with rage, but he had no more words. The evidence was too clear. The galaxy was watching too closely. Even he knew when a battle was lost. He stormed out of the hall without another word. His soldiers followed. The warship left Station Helix 9 1 hour later, disappearing into the darkness of space. They would return someday, knew. This was not truly over, but today at least they had lost. Emerged from the maintenance tunnels that evening, surrounded by the humans who had protected her. She was crying again, but this time the tears were different. They were happy tears, grateful tears. "I do not know how to thank you," she said too. "I do not have words for what you have done." Took her hands and squeezed them gently. "You do not need words. You are family now. That is enough." The Galactic Assembly officially granted asylum 3 days later. She became the first citizen ever to legally leave the Empire. It was a small thing in the eyes of galactic history. Just one girl, just one life. But sometimes small things change everything. News of what happened on Station Helix 9 spread across the galaxy like fire. Species who had never paid attention to humans before suddenly wanted to know more about them. Who were these soft, fragile creatures who stood against an empire? Who were these weak beings who would die to protect a stranger? Came to visit before he left with his merchant ships. They stood together in the observation room, looking out at the stars. "You did something crazy," he said. "Something stupid and dangerous and completely insane." "I know. I am proud of you." Smiled. "I learned from the best. You taught me to never back down from a fight." "I taught you to pick fights you can win," corrected. "You picked a fight against an empire." "And I won." Laughed. It was a warm sound that made feel like she was home. "Yes," he said, "I suppose you did." Found later that night. He was holding a small object in his hand, a data chip similar to the one had given her. "What is that?" asked. "The survivors of the colony ship attack," said. "They made this for a memorial. They recorded messages thanking him for what he did." He handed the chip to. "I thought you should see it." Took the chip and plugged it into her personal screen. 47 faces appeared, one after another. Old and young, men and women and children, all of them saying the same thing in different ways. "Thank you. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for being human." The last message was from a young girl. She could not have been more than 8 years old. Her face was round and serious, her eyes too old for her age. "My name is," she said. "The man with the song saved me. He told me to run and hide and be brave, so I did. And now I am alive because he would not stop fighting." She paused, her small hands clasped together. "My mother says heroes are people who do scary things even when they are scared. She says that man was a hero. I think so too." The screen went dark. Sat in silence for a long time, the tears flowing down her face. The next morning asked to teach her the song, the one had been singing when he fought, when he died. "I do not know which song it was," admitted. "There are so many human songs." "Can you teach me any of them?" asked. "I want to understand. I want to carry something of him with me, something to remember." Thought for a moment, then she began to sing. It was an old song, a simple song, one her mother had sung to her when she was a child. The words were about hope and tomorrow and never giving up, even when the night seemed endless. Listened, her silver face was calm and peaceful. When the song ended, she closed her eyes and smiled. "That is beautiful," she whispered. "Thank you." "You are welcome. You are always welcome." They sat together in comfortable silence, two creatures from different worlds who had somehow become family. Outside the observation window, the stars stretched endlessly into the darkness. The galaxy was vast and cold and full of dangers. The Empire was still out there, angry and waiting. The future was uncertain. But for now, in this moment, everything was peaceful. Thought about his smile, about his song, about the fire inside him that refused to die even when his body gave up. That fire was inside all humans, she realized. It had always been there, waiting to be discovered, waiting to be used. The galaxy had looked at humanity and seen weakness. They had seen soft bodies and short lives and fragile hearts. They had seen prey. But they had missed something important. They had missed the stubbornness, the loyalty, the love that burned so bright it could survive anything. Had been taught that humans were nothing special, that they were weak and forgettable and easy to break. Everything had been different since she learned the truth. And now, slowly but surely, the rest of the galaxy was learning it too. One story at a time. One song at a time. One human at a time.